Hi.
Hi.
And welcome to Private Eyes. I'm Bari, and Jen is not here today. She's feeling a little under the weather. So we have some filler for y'all. And her name is Chrissy. She's been here before.
I'm back.
Chrissy's back. And speaking of filler, so today we're going to talk about something a little different. We're going to talk about aesthetics and plastic surgery, amongst many other things, and as investigators, how that kind of comes into play.
In many different ways.
Yes. Beauty is a problem.
It is a problem. Go ahead.
No, don't. It just spills over into everything, like everyday life. It actually spills over into work. It makes me late for work, but even like when we're working, sometimes people look totally different than they do on social media.
It's the portrayal.
100%. Did you ever have that experience?
All of the time. And I can't even when I'm doing reports or whatever, if I'm on surveillance, you see people on their social media, they look like a completely different person than what they look like in real life, to where sometimes you're like, is this even the right person?
Well, that happens all the time. Mm-hmm. That attorney called me up like in a panic. He's like, you took all these, you guys, you did surveillance, and like there was all these social media pictures of her and all these videos, and I saw her in person, and I think we got the wrong girl. And I was like in a panic. I'm like reviewing all the video and everything. And then I come to find out, luckily, like she held up her arm and I see a tattoo. And then I'm looking at her videos. I'm like, I see a tattoo. But she looked nothing like she does on social media. She had hair extensions, which I need. And then she had hair extensions. She had like beautiful makeup. Her nose was totally different,
But that's not even real. It's a filter that they put on there. Except for the hair. There are so many people who have their hair changed up and everything like that, and you know the one that I'm about to say.
That's who?
The one case where I was on, this woman, she specifically went to the beauty store. I followed her in, and she was looking at all the different hairs and the weave and whatever that she could put in. And then on her social media, we didn't even know exactly how she was going to look in person. Mm-hmm. But we saw her, I forget even what. She went into her car, so I knew that it was her.
I feel like if she didn't have that car, you'd have no idea.
I wouldn't, because she had the one hair. She had, I think, what was it? It was long and straight, I think, in the beginning. Then she went to the hair store. It was something curly.
The hair store.
The beauty store, the hair store. And I went in there with her, and I was looking at her. She was looking at all the different, like, packages of hair or whatever, and then she picked out... I don't even know which one she picked out because I couldn't see it because it was all wrapped up, whatever. But then she goes back home and she comes back out without her hair in.
It wasn't installed. Installation is the correct term.
And that's right. It wasn't installed, and she was going to get some new hair that she just bought installed. But her hair in that moment, it was completely different. She looked like a completely different person. The filters are a whole other level.
Wait a minute. But this is important because people... we get catfished all the time, and it's really unfair because people work very hard to make themselves look very different online than they do in real life. And it just drives me insane. Like, how do people really think that people believe who know them look that way? Explain that to me. Like, how do people rationalize that?
I genuinely don't think that they can, because there's no way. It does not make any sense. And you could tell from a filter, a lot of these people too, depending on like the age range or whatever, I feel like they have the filters that have like all the hearts around it, and like, or the makeup. Like, it's just so painfully obvious.
But sometimes it's not obvious.
If they do the editing.
So they do major editing, like major plastic surgery on their face. Really have to look at those defining features of a person. Like, look at their eyebrows, the shape of their brow bone and all of that stuff. Like, where are their ears lined up and how big are they? And seriously, like, those are the things you really have to examine. And it's hard. Like, when you send me those pictures, I am literally taking a photograph that I get off of social media and comparing it side by side and saying, like, the ears are the same. The brows are kind of the same. The shape of the eyes are the same. Believe it or not, like I know we talk a lot about like cheating and relationship issues and stuff like that, but plastic surgery is an issue.
Absolutely.
And it comes into play for us because there's a lot of botched ones. All different body parts, all different things.
Oh my God.
And then people get upset and they sue. for lots of different reasons. Whether it looks bad or they have bad scars or maybe it, ended up causing them a lot of pain. These are like real things that I think a lot of people, especially like younger people, everyone's getting it. Everybody wants to do it. People are getting facelifts at like 30 years old, 28. And like these are major surgeries and shit goes wrong. It goes bad. I mean, that's nothing new.
And they're so normalized nowadays to where I feel like everyone thinks that, everyone's getting it. It's whatever. There's no complications really involved. Right. And that's not the reality for a lot of people when they go through a procedure like that, especially depending on the procedure.
Right. And a lot of you don't even know about. A lot of people are surprised that you can sue for plastic. There's people who don't know that you can sue for plastic surgery. They think because it's elective, they don't have to sue. But there's certain standards of care that need to be taken. Sometimes the doctor makes a mistake, the surgeon makes a mistake, and sometimes someone's just not happy, never satisfied. They have body dysmorphic disorder or whatever the case may be. So we've seen it all like that, but you, unfortunately, got the brunt of it. I mean, the brunt. So I'll start the story by saying, so we had a situation where we had a defendant, a plastic surgeon, who was not being responsive. Unfortunately, he was getting sued. He was not being responsive. So we had to go find this guy because he wasn't responding to the attorneys. Nobody knew where he was. They thought maybe he left the country. So the attorney calls us in a panic, like, we have a motion. We have to file these papers. We need this stuff signed. Where the hell is, Dr. Death or whatever. I mean, we might as well call this guy Dr. Death.
I was going to say, I like that.
We'll call him Dr. Death.
That'll be his nickname.
I mean, nobody died, but
someone's hopes and dreams for a beautiful downstairs did.
Yes, and I think you might have died at the end of this. So, but what happened was, so before we go out and we try to find somebody, of course we're like doing a lot of research. I'm like looking this person up, and let's just say I cannot give a lot of details here.
Yeah, I was gonna say you talk about it because you could decide what's best to say for it.
Yeah, I don't want to say too much, and I'm not going to give specifics. We'll just say his way with women, okay? And it's been documented in the public sphere
many times.
Yes. So he's not a savory guy.
No,
he might be a good doctor, but the personal life is in shambles. And
good doctor is questionable.
Kind of a popular guy. And people know about it.
Yes.
So knowing this, I'm like, oh my God, this is going to be so hard. I'm like, I bet this guy, he's got a lot of issues going on. I bet he's hiding out. I mean, I feel like we're not even going to find this guy. So I ask you, so we got a little slick. I asked you, I'm like, look, he's got like all these offices. We got to find out where he is. At least if we can get a sense from the staff that he's even around, we're just going to have to take a shot in the dark and go for it. So I asked Chrissy here to call up and make an appointment. So for a consultation.
I was going to say.
Yeah, go ahead. Tell me what the consultation was about.
I feel like, should we preface on what the case was, or should we just say?
Well, let's say this. So this doctor does a lot of surgery, but one of the surgeries that he does is known as
a labiaplasty.
A labiaplasty.
Labiaplasty.
So when you don't want to get lip filler up here, basically you're getting down there zhuzhed, okay? And I know a lot of lady listeners probably know what labiaplasty is. Labiaplasty is, but others may not. So it's a thing.
It's a thing.
People like it. It kind of rejuvenates your downstairs. And I'll never forget, and this is what scarred me more than anything, Chrissy made some kind of reference to...
I don't even know what you're about to say.
Oh, you don't want to know. I'll tell you what you said to me, and it was shocking. This is what happens when you work with the young people. You hear, like, really disturbing things. So,
what did I say?
You said, I see why people get that fix, otherwise it's like throwing a hot dog down a hallway. And I, lost it. I was like, I don't even want to know what that means. So basically, it's not just making it prettier. There's other parts of the procedure that involve more internal
that one's the
zhuzhing that make it.
I think.
Yes, so it's
there's the other ones.
Chrissy.
We learned a lot. This is like this. It went. There was a lot that went into it. The vaginoplasty inside, labiaplasty outside. Beautiful.
Very good. Very good.
Yes. So whatever. In this,
so it's about tightening it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this situation, since I needed to figure out if this doctor was at this office or not, I had to give them a call. And I was like, I don't know. It was so obvious what I had to do. Barry says, this is the one and only job I feel like you will ever have that your boss will say, can you call up this office really fast and ask for a fake consultation for a labiaplasty? And I'm like, sure. Go ahead. Like, all right, fine. Like, and I'm not even phased at this point. So I say, all right, fine, whatever. I'm calling up the office and I say, hey, like I said a fake name. I don't even know. I was like, I was just looking for Dr. Death. And then I was going to see if I'm shopping around for doctors, whatever. I'm interested in a consultation for a labiaplasty.
I like how you do the phone.
Oh my God, yeah, it's happening. It was so natural. And she was like, yeah, like, okay, yeah, like he's in this office on this day, whatever. She gave me kind of a hard time. It was a little bit hard.
She did. She kept asking you, like, can I get a contact number? And you're like looking at me like,
I know.
I don't have a number. I'm like, just ask her if you can come. Just find out. I don't care. Just figure it out.
She was asking me way too much. She was doing too much. She was asking me, oh, can I get an address? What's like your availability on your end? Like we could see if we can make something work for you. I said, no, I don't want it to work for me. I want it to work for the doctor. Is the doctor there? I want to know when he's there.
She wants to see Dr. Death.
I want to see Dr. Death. And then she was like, whatever. So I finally got it out of her that he was going to be in the office the next day it was.
Right.
And I was like, oh, okay, whatever. And she kept asking me more and more questions, and she was trying to get me to make a whole profile. And I said, well, I ended up hanging up on her.
Right.
I was like, I can't even do that.
I have a bad connection. Bye. So what happened was she actually, the assistant or the whatever, scheduler, basically was just kind of like, I have an opening at 2 tomorrow. So I was like,
in this office.
It.
So we knew exactly
which
location
so we knew
it
was that office, and we knew he would be there at 2 because obviously he had nothing to do at 2 o'clock. So I was like, oh, Chrissy, I really want you to go there. But we actually had another job that had to get done on that day. Couldn't be changed. We had to be there. And I needed Chrissy to do this job. And so I was like, shit, all right, we'll figure it out. We have some time. We'll go another day. And I was like, worst case scenario, I'll check it out. Like, I can go myself. I got to go to that location later on this week. So Chrissy goes, does the job. And
The first one.
The first one.
That day. It was the next day after the call. It was
the next day after the call. She ends up getting done with that job. And it was like 10 to 2. The woman was tucked in. It was a great success. The job was a success. She got the video we needed. The woman showed up. It was fantastic. We did everything we needed to do. And I'm just thinking I'm like, Chrissy, the likelihood of this person coming out is slim to none. We've already been here for so many hours. I'm like, you're going. We're going to try it. Go to Dr. Death's office.
Go to Dr. Death.
Go to Dr. Death.
That's exactly what I did.
She did. So you rolled up there.
Oh my God. And I don't know, I remember this moment. I had no idea really what I was walking into for this because it's such a specific situation. I was like, I've never really been in I've never been in this situation before. But so I walk in, whatever, I'm going up
Chrissy's au naturel.
Oh yeah.
Never been to a doctor's office before. Never been to a med spa.
So I'm walking in there, whatever. I'm going up and I see his place. I see his little office. He's in this building, whatever. And I'm like, all right, this is it. I bring the papers that I need. I need that signature. That's all I needed. I needed a few signatures. There's whatever. So I go in there and I see the receptionist. I realize when I heard her talking to somebody else, I'm like, that's the woman I talked to yesterday, who I abruptly hung up on, but whatever. And I see all these women sitting in there, and I just know that he has messed up a labia or two before. I know for a fact one he's messed up. So I see all these women here.
Why are you making him worse than he is? We only know of one, okay?
All right, but I can infer.
Okay.
He had lots of other patients there. Maybe they were there for something else. I don't know. But I knew that they possibly had something going on there.
You were just assuming. Imagine scanning the room, imagining what's wrong with their vagina.
I knew way too much information about them without even knowing them, just by walking in there. But anyways, I digress. He was in the back, whatever, so I was talking to the lady at the front desk, and I say, hi, I was trying to be respectful because it was extremely quiet in there. It was very soothing. They had the nice music, whatever. Very quiet. No one was talking. So I go in there, and I was trying to be nice. I was just like, hey, like, I really need to talk to Dr. Death really fast. Like, it's only going to take a few moments. Do you mind? And she goes in the back, whatever, and she's talking to this other woman back there, and she said, I let him know if you sit down for a little bit. So I'm sitting there, whatever. I'm texting Barry this whole time. I said, I think he's coming out.
Did you even say, like, why you were there, though? Did you say it was important?
I just said,
you didn't even say, oh, you said it was important.
I said it was important, and then I think she mentioned, she was like, oh, like, what kind of, like, important are you talking about? And I said, just legal matters is what I said. It was not, like, going in, whatever. I was
and she was like, anything. Okay, let me check. So clearly.
Then she went back. She was like, all right, fine. And she, like, ran. But
you might be right about the multiple labia.
Yeah.
Destruction.
She didn't seem too surprised. It just seemed like this was routine for her. All right, it's time to get the doctor for this. Anyway, I'm sitting there, and she's talking to this other woman back there. This other woman comes out, and she's like, he's in the OR right now. He's in the middle of a procedure. He can't come out and talk to you right now. And she was saying, oh, can you come back at this time, whatever. It was a few hours later. And I said, I don't know, like, it's not sounding good. I'm going to check really fast, but we'll see. It's not sounding great. So then whatever, I go and call Barry. I said to Barry, she says that he's in the OR right now. He's in the middle of another patient. He's probably mid-stitch right now with another labia, but he's, like, a little bit busy. He can't really talk to me right now. And Barry goes, I don't care. I don't care.
You will sit there and wait.
I didn't even. You said, no, demand him now. You didn't even tell me the way. That? Yes.
I get crazy.
You literally said no. You said, tell him it's going to take all of 5 seconds, which it really did. And, like, actually.
In the scheme of things, that, what we were there for took 5 seconds. So you wait.
I wait for a little bit. I walk back in there and I say, no, I'm sorry. Like, I need to talk to him now. Like, if there's any way possible, please. Like, it's going to take him a few minutes, whatever. They bring me back into the office. So I'm not in the waiting room anymore. They bring me back in there. They have me sitting there for a little bit. And then they say, it's going to be like 20 more minutes. I was waiting back there for a little bit. Not that long, maybe 10. Right. And I was like, all right, like, whatever. I'm just waiting. I thought he was going to come in, but then it was that woman again from the back. And I said, oh, it's not him. So then she goes, it's going to be like 20 more minutes.
I know, I kept getting texts. You're like, I think he's coming. I think I'm going in. I think it's happening.
And it never did.
Like, no, it's not. It's not. It's not. It's not. And then all of a sudden I get the text. I'm in the office. I'm like, no shit.
It seemed amazing. I know, I didn't really say that well enough to you. I meant that I was in, like, the office of the office.
I know. And then she sent me a picture.
I did. I was like,
here? Yes. She's in. Picture. You're like, I'm in and I'm waiting.
And I'm waiting. And then she told me to get back into the waiting room. And she said it's going to be 20 minutes. Yeah, I was like, I was back and forth a lot. I was all over the place because I was being so annoying. I was like, please. Just give this to me, please.
Sometimes you have to be persistent. Mm-hmm. I mean, you just have to.
And I was, because then I went back in the waiting room for a little bit, and then she was trying to somehow not get me to go back there again, the lady at the reception desk. Mm-hmm. And I got to the point where I was like, look, this is a very important matter. This is with his lawyers about a lawsuit that he's in right now. Like, I need to speak to him right now. And everyone else in the waiting room goes, like, looks at me like, not feeling very good about the position they were in right there, about to see him. God.
Well, they made it get to that point. They made it get to that point.
I was being extremely polite. It's not my fault. So anyway, but that really got it going, because then I got right back into the office of the office. They brought me right back in.
The office of the office.
The office of the office.
She means the doctor's office. Like
the doctor's
actual office. Mm-hmm. And you got in there.
He finally says, all right, he comes in. And then I say, hi. Like, and he was like, he probably hated me. He probably stitched that up real quick. And he was like, whatever, messed up another one. He's like, great, I'm going to have another lawsuit on my hands. And then he goes back to see me. And he's like, hey, he was nice to me. I have to give him that, whatever.
I know, you were like, he's super. We actually thought it might be like a really, not dangerous, but I had concerns. I just had concerns that he was going to be, like, super nasty. But he was nice.
He was so nice.
And what did you see in the room?
God. So when I was in the actual doctor's office, I saw he had, like, a whole bunch of little things. I was looking around. He was reading through all the papers that I gave him, whatever.
Yes, we had to give him papers to sign, like, super important papers.
Yes. So he was reading through all of them, whatever. I gave him some time. He said, you could sit in here, whatever. You could wait. I said, that's all right here. Like, whatever. I'm just going to wait right here. So I was right behind him. I was like, whatever. But I was looking around, and I was being nosy, and I just look at his whiteboard, and I see there was 2 sections. It goes to do, and then there was urgent in red. And I go, And I'm reading, and it's like it's like across the the room, whatever. And I see in the first bullet point under urgent was the name of the attorney that we were there.
So his intentions were good. He just couldn't get his shit together.
Yeah.
His intentions were there. And then you felt much better. I felt much better about him. Like, okay, he's totally going to be receptive. He's doing everything he's supposed to.
No, that's not the first thing you said to me on the phone.
It's not?
No, you go, oh, he instantly, that's why it took so long. He wrote that on the board really quick for you.
Did I say that? I'm always thinking the worst of people.
You were on him. You gave him no benefit of the doubt. Absolutely zero.
Oh my God.
But
so
that's
bad.
fine, because you're right, because that whiteboard was a little bit too clean. Sorry.
It was.
I'm going to say. I sent you a picture of it once again.
It was.
I was snapping pictures left and right.
There was nothing else that was urgent but that.
It was just on there, and the whiteboard was so nice. It was like...
That's why they made you get out, so we could go in and write it real quick.
He needed a minute.
To write that down. Oh, God. Probably. Yeah, it makes sense.
It does make sense, because, I mean, I don't know if you told her that, but still, it doesn't matter. It's like a little funny detail, but... So whatever, he signs all the things, whatever. I'm explaining him the next step, like, whatever that he's got to do, and he was asking me a few questions, whatever. And I said, oh, this is great. And then I was ready to go. I said, I got what I needed. That's it. I just needed these little signatures, whatever. And he goes, oh, wait. I have something else for you. And I said, what? Like, what could this be? And he goes, I have some photos that I'm going to airdrop you to send to the attorney. I said, okay. That's okay. I said, I didn't know what I was thinking in that moment. And he goes over and he gets this big old iPad, and then he starts going through, and it's just swipe, picture, vagina, all different ones, different owners, vagina. And I said, oh my God. And then he's airdrops me maybe 20 pictures or something like that. So I get them on my phone. I'm like, great, love that. All right. And then he goes, wait, I need to see that again. I need to figure out who's who. So he's zooming in on the anatomy of each one. And I'm like, okay. I'm trying to I'm not looking at him. I'm letting him do his thing.
I think that's amazing that he could tell a patient by their labia.
I feel like...
Or clitoris. Or any one of those parts.
He was zooming. Because I saw it. I still saw it, but I was standing right next to him. I mean... I feel like they all looked so different. I'm so serious. I feel like I could tell, and I'm not a doctor. But anyways, it was from different days, because he had the before, whatever, the after, whatever. So he airdrops me not a million. It was
it was enough.
30. It was enough.
It was enough.
It did what it had to do.
It was enough.
I was like, all right, thanks. And then I got out of there, whatever. And then I run down to my car, and then I text Bari. I said, this is, once again, the only time in any situation, any job, that I would have to send hairy vagina photos to my boss, and she would say thank you. She was like, yes!
I was thrilled. Yes! I was thrilled. Actually, I wasn't. Because your dream of getting these pictures, yeah. Oh, yeah. You were excited about it. I don't mean in that way. She got the pictures, and then we have a secure server. And she goes and puts them on the server and sends me an email that says, alert. And it's got the,
trigger
warning, lightning bolts or some shit like that.
Alarm lights.
Yeah, the alarm lights. And it was an alarm. It was a trigger. It was trigger warning. There's pictures.
Really hairy vagina.
There's trigger. I literally, was falling asleep, and I get this email. I'm like, oh my God, what is this? But it was of course I couldn't resist. That woke me up out of my, near sleep. And I'm going in and I'm looking at the server. I'm like, oh my God. And I was upset because I couldn't figure out what was before and after. So I didn't know. It was so bad. It was bad.
I couldn't.
I don't have enough experience with vaginas.
I do not either at all.
To be that obsessed.
So,
to know, when it looks good and when it doesn't.
And that too.
That's why we need Jen here.
She'd be able to say it in instant. She'd know. I can't. So
what makes a good vagina versus a bad one?
A bad one. I would love to know.
Jen, can you help?
I don't know. I have no idea. So I don't know. It might have not been that botched. I've got no idea.
He might have done a good job.
It was fine.
Like we said before, a lot of people often are just dissatisfied. Mm-hmm. So it could be just that. Remains to be seen. Mm-hmm. But her remains were seen.
They were seen.
It doesn't matter. Yeah.
They were seen.
So, yeah. So
that one was crazy. That's my favorite one now. Whenever someone asks me, not even I feel like that's just the most interesting. Because are you kidding me? Who has ever in their life had to send their boss vagina photos?
Whoever works for someone who, like a Dr.
Besides
Death.
if you're a Dr. Death.
Dr. Death. Then his staff is getting tons of pictures. They might even be the ones that have to take it.
They might. I was going to say, that iPad. There was lots. That iPad is a scary place. I can't. I can't even describe to you. It was swipe, 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 swipe. I saw him like scroll. I mean, so many. He's got a lot of work. It's good for him.
I have to say, but look, the good news was he was nice.
He was nice.
He gave you what you needed.
What I needed.
And it wasn't a labiaplasty that day. So that's
it
good.
It was not.
Would you call him in the future?
I would not say that I would. I definitely would not be.
Oh my God.
I just couldn't when they were all looking at me in that office. When and then I walked out and I was like, bye. Like, I was like, whatever. I was just like smiling, being nice. But everyone was looking at me because they all knew. They all knew what I was like. I was there for some sort of legal matter with the lawsuit with their doctor. Hated to hear it.
Yeah. No, and that's sometimes what it takes.
Yeah.
A little embarrassment to light a fire under somebody's ass to get them to do what they're supposed to. It was really important. And that happens a lot where people, just disappear or are apathetic about what they have to do or think it's not that important when really it's like super important. So everybody was happy except me. I think the only other... Yeah, I don't think people realize some of the stuff. I mean, they know we see cheating, we see this, we see that, but we talk about internal stuff. I don't mean just emotions and things like that. I mean, I'll never forget one time Irene is our office administrator, and it was her first time on the job. And one of her first cases was we had a case where we needed to do some surveillance, again, another personal injury matter. And they sent her the documents, and they sent her some photos. I'm like, oh, great. I love when they send pictures of the plaintiff. It makes things so much easier because very often we have no idea what these people look like. We have to do our own research, and we do a pretty good job. And Irene's scrolling through this file, and she just took a step back, and what it was a butt with giant hemorrhoids.
Gaping asshole.
A gaping butt. And we did not need to see that. And she was like, I'm going to like this place. And she's still here. Well, that was back in 2017, I think.
Wait, that was really one of the first ones?
It was one of the first cases that she had.
Kick it off with a bang.
Yes.
I love that. Bang.
Kick it off with a bang. Oh.
I can't. I think I added, I had to when I sent the photos from my situation to you guys. I think I had to add Irene in too.
Yes.
And you said this isn't the first time for Irene.
Yeah. I said it's not her first rodeo. It's not her first rodeo. She's seen butts with hemorrhoids and all kinds of body parts and things.
Oh my God.
And this was different.
It was different, to say the least. But
what
it was
offended
up
you
there.
the most? I think it was not even
offended.
I think it was just the hair.
Oh, it was a hairy one. But that's understandable. That's fine.
You're making me spit my water.
I feel like they kind of make you do that. Don't they? They don't want I know after, if you get a Brazilian, there's you can't do stuff afterwards, whatever.
Because of germs, probably.
I think so. Or you can get, oh my God, yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah.
Or some sort of, infection.
It'd be contaminated or some kind of, who knows?
Yeah. So you probably honestly can't do anything like that before you get it operated on. So, good for her.
So in defense,
I give her grace.
The hair is protection. That's what it's there for. You know that, right?
Of course, I think. Yeah, I know that.
And it's also the self-cleaning organ. So we learned something new every day. I know, I hate that word.
I hate that. Ew.
So, yeah. So just when you think it's just all about watching people with wigs.
No. Or just pulling up to someone's house and sitting out there for a little bit, watching them walk with a cane or whatever. No, it's not.
Personal injury encompasses lots of things.
Yes, it does.
So on that note, we're going to say case closed. You did a great job, Chrissy.
Oh, thanks.
And thanks for joining.
Delivered.
You did. You delivered.
I delivered.
You delivered a lot that day. Oh, I get it, another vagina reference. I'm just thinking.
I know. I didn't even mean to do that.
All right, that's another reason why people have the vaginoplasty. Okay, but anyway, on that note, Thank you for delivering. Great job. Case
Delivered.
closed. You did such a good job on that. And it was a lot of fun.
Thank you.
And I hope you guys love that story because it's one of
love
our
telling
faves. Chrissy loves telling it. So any second she gets.
Oh my God. It's my
she'd
favorite.
love
Like
to
I
share.
said, and whenever someone asks me now, that's my number one story that I love to talk about.
Number one crazy story. So,
it's so funny.
We will see you guys next week on Private Eyes. Bye.
Bye.